Hello again. So now I have the high-res sim and I've cached everything live. So I'm gonna do a play blast of this. I've lowered the resolution size to 0.0075. I'll show that in a second. Set this to 7.5. Let's hit play, and I think it's working really nicely now. I don't see any issues. There's a little bit here, but I think it's fine for these fine objects, and we can completely remove them as well, which will make the grid in the first few frames smaller, so that probably save us some time. But overall, this was super quick to sim, so I wasn't worried about time or anything. We can see we have no smoke left here, except in this few areas which are cavities, and that's normal. And you can see everything is moving away. Now there's a little bit of stuff left here, but it eventually moves away, which is very cool. And then I want to add some noise now to this to make it feel less wispy, less smoke, less cigarette-like, because you can see there's a lot of nice shapes in there. So I want to break those up using the normal Houdini turbulence, and then we're done with this. Okay, this is our first sim, and let's take a look and continue adding some more stuff. Cool, so I'm gonna dive inside. I'm gonna lower this, increase this back to 0.5, and what I'd like to do, I'd like to keep multipliers to this. I'm gonna set it to multiply it by 2, and that way I know that the original value was 1. Previously I can go back easily to that. Okay, so let's add some noise, and I'd like to add them here. So I'm going to create a gas turbulence, and this is the basic Houdini turbulence node. I'm going to connect that to the velocity update. I'm going to create a merge node, and this way we can add a lot of modifiers if we want to. Let's move this way, let's move this here. And for this turbulence, we basically have a scale, which is the magnitude. We have a swirl size, which is the noise size, and then we have a grain, which is the sharpness of the noise itself. So I'm going to increase that to 0.6, and then we have turbulence layer, which adds more iterations, more loops on the noise patterns itself. Okay, cool. Let's increase this to something really high to see it in effect. Cool. So you can see now it's disturbing this a lot. You can see the details are really small at this moment. So I'm gonna increase the swirl size to 4. I'm gonna lower the grain because I think it's too much. I'm gonna lower this to 3 as well. Let's hit play. Cool. So I like this this breakup a lot more, and we're going to obviously lower this. And what I'd like to do, I'm going to call this big turbulence. I'd like to layer a few of these. And you can see there is this where is it? There's this pulse length here. The smoke itself is animated, and that pulse length controls its change over time. There's also seed, which we can change every frame, and it will cause the noise to change drastically, which could help break up the details a bit more as well. So we'll change that seed, and let's copy this. I'm gonna remove the seed from changing. Actually, I think, yeah, I'm gonna remove it. I don't want the pattern to change every frame, and the reason for that is because we have a pattern affecting this area for just 1 frame, and if the intensity is not strong enough, we're not going to see a lot of impact. So I'm going to leave it to be the same. And then for the second one, I'm going to add mid turbulence, and I'm going to increase the scale to 2 and lower the swirl size to 0.5, and let's increase the grain a bit. And I always like to layer them. Cool. So yeah, we have more turbulence going now. in this. I think I'll increase this as well. Or you know what? Let's add another level. Let's add 3 levels. So let's make this even bigger, 6. And let's make it stronger. And you can see now we're getting more blocky shapes and fine details as well. And the main thing with noise, it's really hard to see it at a low resolution, and the higher the smoke, the higher the resolution of the smoke is, the more details you're going to see. And especially when you tweak fine turbulence, it's really hard to see them at a lower resolution sims. And you can see now by increasing that, we're getting a lot of fine details. The reason the noise, the turbulence also changes based on the input, because it uses that, the noise node uses the density and the position of the volume to generate the data. And if you change the resolution of the grid, the input will change as well, and that will cause the noise to change. So you can see I think the biggest swirl is too much. It's changing the whole shape of the sim. But I'm sure you guys get the idea by now. I'm not going to spend too much time tweaking this. It's just playing with these values. We can also play with the wind and keep it going for a bit longer. So right now, I think it's working, yeah. Right now you can see the wind is stopping, is not affecting the sim after a certain point because we're turning it off. And also remember that the smoke we've created doesn't go all the way up here, so I'll change that. I'll do 2 changes. I'm gonna keep it going for up until frame 41 to 1. And I'm gonna change this key to 1 as well, so it doesn't stop. And let's increase the volume, the box size that we've created. Okay. I wanted to cover the entire area, even if the smoke goes up. Now, the last thing that I'd like to add is it's been added already, but we didn't talk about it, is the temperature. And temperature is generally thought of as the thing to create fire, but you don't have to always create fire to have temperature. You can have it there, and it will help with the gas buoyancy. It will help cause some parts to lift up and causes more swirl in general. And I'm going to increase the buoyancy up a little bit just to have the smoke goes up but it rises as it travels through, and it will also help get mixed with the wind noise that we have at the moment. Yeah, I think it's working nicely. Let's take a look. Yeah, we're getting a lot of cool details. So I'm going to change the buoyancy to 5 and make sure we have temperature. Yeah, the temperature is good. And last thing I wanted to show, to mention something about the source volume, which I already mentioned this, but when you have this node created by default, it doesn't mean that it is initialized correctly for the source or for anything. You have to change it back into something, change it to something, and then change it back to it for it to initialize. And I will show you what's actually changing. I'll prove that to you. So here, this is a fresh sourced volume. Okay, I'm gonna copy that, and let's take a look at this mask here. This is the original. You can see this is empty. I'm gonna change it to something else, and then back to source smoke, and boom, it changed this value. And it could be changing some other stuff as well. So always make sure you toggle that back and forth to get the correct result. I'm going to increase this a little bit more. I'm going to set this to 0.8. And I'm going to do a sim. I'll have it run live as well, and then we're going to take a look at the final result in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.